Girl, man, boy, girl, whoever you are, you got to stay guarded. You got to keep yourself guarded because you never know what's out here in these streets. Hey, y'all, it's Lovely J Podcast here with Coco Bowden, and we just finna talk and cook on today about guarding yourself because I've been finding out lately that people really are meaner now than they were, before. If anything, we're seeing a different side of this world in this day and age. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. I got to go in here, y'all. I'm still sitting in my chair. I don't feel like cooking. It's a Saturday, but I need to cook something. I was sitting here thinking about the many times I let my guard down, just to be accepted. Ooh, I feel like I'm jumping right off the gate getting into something. But I let my guard down several times to be accepted, only to really not be accepted. So, let me see here. I'm going to be cooking something with some noodles and some spaghetti sauce. Because I ate out 3 days in a row. 3 days. Did y'all hear me? I ate out 3 days in a row. 3 days. I'm still stuck on that. 3 days. Yeah, I did. Let's see here. I was looking for something, but thank y'all for tuning in on this Saturday. Because I know you could be doing something else. Yeah, I'm just grabbing things that I need. Ooh. I don't have any plates. I use paper plates. I have not got nothing from the grocery store in a minute. Feels like it's been a really long time. We'll be on here for a little bit today, huh? I don't mind. Let me see. I gotta clean my pan out. And another thing, I have not done nothing for the last 4 days but write. That's all I've done. I don't see the things I'm looking for in here. Where that? Let me go get another box of gloves. I've been writing my storylines, and in writing those stories, the stories I'm writing are all fiction, by the way. So if you run across them and you be like, "Ooh, that really happened?" It didn't really happen. It's fiction stories that I'm writing. So it didn't happen. None of that stuff happened. I don't care how real it sounds. That's the goal of a writer, is to get you to feel what they feel. One of the stories I wrote about was about a woman named Melita. Melita was the wife of Old Man McCoy, and she was. You can find these stories, by the way, on TikTok. If you're not following me, go to TikTok at Miss Coco Bowden. You'll find the stories, and I tried to do the animations. I'm new to that stuff, but I feel like I did pretty good with it. That's, I gotta clean this table up, y'all, before I do anything. I told y'all I ain't did nothing. So if I jump topics on you, excuse me. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, in that story, This was some good beef stew. I hate to throw this little bit away because it was so good yesterday. It come out the can. I didn't know it could taste so good. But it was salty. Salty. I should have put this in the refrigerator. Yeah, so that story on there was about a woman who had these kids. For some reason, the kids didn't think that, she should have as much money as she had. The kids got greedy. Didn't feel as if she was giving them enough. And so they started to try to take the money and realized she was too strong and powerful for that. So then they tried to get rid of their mother. They tried to get rid of their mother so they could take what she had. And how did that go? That did not go so good because the mother eventually realized what was going on after she kept getting sick and sick. She finally realized what was going on, and then she started taking matters into her own hands. And something happened with her kids. But I leave cliffhangers on the stories so that you can draw your own conclusion as to what happened. That's why I leave the cliffhangers. For you to use your imagination. And I will tell you my version of I'll tell you what my imagine would lead to on that. If I would have continued to writing for a book, because short form writing to do these little shows is different from writing a book. Now, if I'm writing a book, I would have detailed that thing to the core, exactly what she did. Her and her, if you notice on the picture, there's a man standing with her. She had another man in the background. So that's another, you have to pay attention to details. And those details tell you what happened to them. They both had on gloves, and the mom wasn't as helpless as she seemed to be. Now, if I had wrote a book and the book came straight out about it, I would have said what happened, because everybody that the guys kept sending to the mother, they kept sending people to beat the mother up and to drug her, to break in her house, to scare her off her property. And what ends up happening, everybody that comes, they don't leave. They don't leave from there. And they never report back to the sons. She had 3 sons. Carrie, Jet, and Slick. And it was Carrie's idea to get rid of her so that they could get her insurance money. Now, she was a really honest woman. All she did was continue to run her husband's business, which made them a lot of money in pharmaceuticals. And the children couldn't take that. They couldn't take the fact that their mom was so successful because she was giving them some money, but she wanted them to work for it like her and her husband did. It wasn't like she was just throwing them away, but she wanted them to understand the true value of a dollar. So if I was to give that a cliffhanger ending, I would have said that everybody that went in there to try to hurt that mama, whoever she had as her bodyguard, got rid of him. And then at the end, she just had to make a choice. It's going to be her or it's going to be her kids. And she chose herself. Which anybody would have done in that situation. Anybody would have chose themselves. If your children trying to hurt you and you know it, you choose yourself too. She chose herself, so she let the bodyguard do his job. And whatever he did it. Because nobody heard from them kids again. You hear me? Now, that's the kind of story I wrote. I like stories. I like writing like that. Then I came back and I did another writing about a superhero. The superhero, that superhero it's really based on me a little bit, Super Gummy, because I ain't got no teeth like that. So that's why I called her Super Gummy. But we real cute. we look really good for our age. We look good. The only thing is we don't have teeth like that. But every now and then, Super Gummy, depending on what she'll do, she'll put her teeth in. And sometimes she won't put no teeth in. So that's what Super Gummy is. But she's still a hero, no matter how she looks. And that's what I love about that character is that no matter how she looks, she's still a hero. And she has a job to do. Now, in that story, there is no cliffhanger. I immediately go into details telling you what happened. They went to go rescue the Tigger's divider stone. And the divider stone is this green stone, emerald green stone that glows, and it keeps the division between the good world and the evil world. Well, the good elves and the evil elves. So see, you got a forest that's full, but they can only go to so far before they are on somebody else's turf. And so that divider stone keeps that division there. But like evil people do, they like to overtake and overstep their boundaries. So the Altites, what they're doing is they're coming in there to gain access to the good world and take over. Don't that sound good already? They come to take over. They took the emerald. And they had only a few hours to get the emerald back to its original place before the takeover would, be confirmed. And that's why they called Super Gummy to come in and help them, because this Super Gummy she's quirky, she's clumsy, she's not really serious. She knows she's a superhero, but at the same time, she's not a serious-hearted person. She's out here saving people. She's out here fighting for people and doing her job. But she's not a serious-hearted person. And she has on this outfit that's kind of like a Wonder Woman outfit. And I probably should come up with her own. Because I would like for kids. That's actually a kid's story, y'all. A kid's short story. And I'd like to do more short. I'd like to do more kids' short stories. With her, she comes in, but to be honest, just like everybody has a sidekick, just like Batman couldn't be without Robin, without Big Skillet, she would be nowhere. Big Skillet is the one who really does the work. He's the one who does the hardest work in the background, because he's telling her what needs to be done, what's going on. He's the communicator. He's the one. He's never going to stay the same, because when you first see him in the beginning, he'll be him. But then when he gets into character, he shift changes. He changes into different characters. So he doesn't stay the same. He's a shifter. And that's how he can fool people into believing that he's one of them, like he did the elves. See, the elves thought he was one of them, but they just thought he was big. And they let him get away with things that other people wouldn't have gotten away with. Okay, ground seasons. Okay, I hope this be good. Y'all. Oh, yes. This the one that smells good, too. Getting ready to cook this meat. Yeah, so Big Skillet is the one who is behind the operations. He's a communicator. Without the communicator, you don't know where to go, you know what to do. And then I have a character called Snowteller on there. Snowteller is about like, she's just like, she's kind of like Super Gummy. Maybe a little smarter than Super Gummy. No, I don't think she's smarter than Super Gummy. They battle like they friends. And Snowteller, she's not a fortune teller. She just always holds that ball because she knows things. she hears things, so she knows what's going on in the forest. She knows what she's heard, and so Super Gummy goes to her for help. When Super Gummy goes to her for help, she can only give her bits and pieces. She can't give her the whole prophecy, because if she gives her the whole prophecy, then Super Gummy might not want to do the job. So when y'all get time, you can check out those stories on TikTok at Miss Coco Bowden. I really like it. I enjoy it. I try to put character voices on there the way I hear it in my head. And sometimes I just got to find an editing machine. It would be nice if I could find an editing machine or some site that can do the audio that I want, and plus do it all in one. Put the pictures together. I watch Ray Williams all the time on TikTok tell these stories. And he's the one that got me doing this, because I like to tell stories too, as you can tell. But Ray, y'all gonna hear the food cooking now. But Ray tells the best stories of real life situations that have went on. And he came on and he kept saying, y'all look, I know y'all like these stories, but it's gonna take me a day or two or maybe a week to get things together, because of the work that's behind putting these stories together. And I really did not realize how hard it was to for me. And I'm pretty good at tech work. I'm good at the tech work that, you give me something and you teach me one time, I'm good. I can do it. But when I tell y'all, for a 2 minute, just 2 minutes, for 2 minutes of y'all getting to watch the animated version or the picture version of these stories that I'm telling you, when you see it, you see 2 minutes on the clock, or maybe 5 minutes. I think the longest one I did, 7 minutes on the clock. But it takes about 2 hours to edit one story. So I know what he means now when he says that it takes time to do those stories. I don't know how many I'll be able to do, because that is time consuming. And I've been locked in. Y'all, I've been hyper fixated the last 3-4 days doing these stories. I ain't heard nothing nobody said. I ain't called nobody. I ain't came up for fresh air. I ain't cooked. None of that. Only way I got something to eat was from the restaurant, because when I get hyper fixated on something, like, my mind is there. I want to get it done, and I ain't stopping till I get it done. So I did that last story last night. But I want to do another one, but it's not going to be today. I just have to know my limit, because it took so much time to do them stories. It does. It takes so much time. But I like it. And I think I will do another one I think I'll try to make it for the Chronicles of Tigger. I think I will continue to make little small stories of that. But it does take a lot of work into creating the content. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I know some people do and some people don't. That's what I'm talking about. And this is leading into what I posted. The name of this was Guard Your Heart. Guard your heart and mind at all times. Because the gift that God give you, it's somebody out there that don't like that. You got people out there that don't like themselves. And so what they'll do is they'll hate on your giftings, and they'll hate on your work to discourage you into not doing anything. Or they will tamper and sabotage your work so that you'll get discouraged, because you'll be like, oh, every time I try to do something, this happened, that happened. No, you stay in there no matter what. So, yeah, it is tough being a content creator. And when you're a negative one, ooh. I feel sorry for the negative people. that be out here. This meat smells so good. Just trying to break it up. But yeah, you got to guard your heart. Guard whatever it is that you are doing. Whatever God has given you to take care of, guard it. And don't pay these people no attention that like to pick on people who have faith. Let them keep laughing, because they're going to see that God is God all by himself. And they will one day have to bow down and cry out to him on behalf of themselves or their family members. That's why I don't worry about these people who be coming up trying to make me feel bad about what I do. I had a story to tell. I have 4 stories to tell, and I put the 4 stories out there regardless of what anybody says or thinks about me. I know the talent I have. I'm confident in my talent that somebody will like it. Even if I don't get but one person who likes it, I'm confident in my talent, not because I'm good at writing, but because that's what God gave me. I was just thinking, what's the other story I have? I'll have to look at the phone and see. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the Notorious Moroccan 3. Y'all gotta check that one out now. If you like crime stories, that's for you. The Notorious Moroccan 3 is, whoo, it's off the chain. It's got so many twists in it. I can play a little bit of it for y'all. It's on YouTube as well. If y'all go to Lovely J Podcast on YouTube, you can see the full things. Chronicles of Tigger and Chronicles of Tigger, The Divider, and the Notorious Moroccan 3. What did Laura Lonely McCoy do to her children? That's the name of that first one I was talking about. What did Laura Lonely McCoy do to her children? That's the name of it. And the other one is Who is Melita Costello? So I will tell y'all a little bit about the Notorious Moroccan. I'm going to play it for you. You might hear it.
Business and not afraid to unlive people who got in her way. Dr. Juliana became powerful and was given the name the Vamper. One day, the Vamper now found herself surrounded and outnumbered after a drop. She took off running fast as she could drop in the money she just made. It was after a trip back from a drop. Juliana, the Vamper, underestimated her ops who were waiting for her return. Darkness filled the air. The Vamper woke up in a hospital 1 year later with amnesia, having no idea who she was or of her past. A woman doctor hid her in the hospital under the name Jane Doe after finding her left for the Baza, birds in a ditch. The older doctor took the Vamper under her wing after telling her what happened to her. She had her name changed to Dr. Juliana Morocco. Dr. Juliana.
Okay, so that's that one. Dr. Juliana Morocco. You would have to go see the whole thing to get the understanding of that. Anyway, that's one that could be a cliffhanger if you chose it to be. Or you could settle it at where I left off at, which was they got the two. She got Dr. Juliana was left a lot of money by the Moroccan 3, but she couldn't get the money until she turned 65 years old, and she didn't know nothing about the money. See, if I was writing the actual book, I could add all those little details in there. But when you're just doing the little short clips like that, you have to kind of let people lead to their mind, their own mindset, their own imagination. Because Dr. Juliana, She started out, she was a bad person when she was younger. Probably like in her teen years, she was drafted, recruited to become a drug mule. And she made a lot of money doing it. And she was known to be like a queen of it. But when her ops find out about, hey, she's making all this money. They got all the money going over there, and it's only because of her. Let's rob her. Let's get some of that money. That's what they did. They robbed her. They beat her. They thought they had killed her, and they had left her for dead, but they didn't. It just so happened the old lady found her and restored her back to health, because she was in a coma for 1 year, and the old lady had like this hospital that that she had built. It was the Moroccan Threes Hospital, where they were helping the poor people and all that. And they hid her in that hospital for a year until she woke up. When she woke up, she didn't know who she was. They really didn't know who she was. They just knew it was somebody they found on the street. But the old lady didn't have no children, so what she did, she took and adopted her as her child. Even though she was older, she took and adopted her as her child so that she could continue, so that she could do things a legal way. So while she was in that coma and couldn't make decisions for herself, she became her caretaker, her caregiver. And that's how the adoption went through. Now, after the adoption goes through, she puts her through school, helps her become a nurse, then she becomes a doctor, and she starts working with her. Now, years pass by, and the couple dies who adopted her. They die in a car wreck, and y'all excuse me, sometimes I go a little blank, but it's okay. They die in a car accident and leave what they have to Dr. Juliana. Problem is, she inherits their debt, bills that they owe. They owe a lot of money back to the government, which is $1.5 million. $1.5 million is what they owe back. And at this time, the little hospital they have is kind of going broke. Juliana doesn't know about the money that they've left her yet. And the hospital is going broke. What ends up happening is... Oh, let me leave that on for a second. She did hire Snook. Before she found out the hospital was in bad financial beings, she hired this young girl by the name of Snook. Now, Snook, she was smart. I mean, she didn't have anything to do with anything. She was really an honest working new doctor, just graduated from school, who came out with all these bills, and she wanted to start her own practice, but she couldn't afford it, so she took in with Dr. Juliana. Dr. Juliana, at this time, didn't know that she was going to have to close her building. She didn't know. All this was a surprise to Dr. Juliana herself. But she had gave her a chance because, she knew what that was like to be, she's seen her parents help many people who didn't have money. So she was just doing what her parents had always taught her to do. Her adopted parents, the old lady and the old man, never gave them a name, by the way, except for old lady and old man. And she helped them. At this time is when she realized, it's like a few months into hiring her, that they don't have it like that. They don't have it like that. So what happens? They have to tell her, look, we're sorry, but we don't have a job for you anymore. You have to go find somewhere else to work. And on that last day that they're getting ready to close, right at the end of things, that they're getting ready to close, that's the day before, Giuliano gets this package in the mail. Well, gets it delivered to her. A package is delivered to her. And she sees, she knows about the bill because the bill was delivered first. And then she got this other package delivered, which told her that she had a trust. It was on her birthday. She was crying for her birthday because she thought it was over. But then, when she got the package was all that money that was left to her in the trust. She was eligible for all of it now. She got that money. She gave Snook money to go ahead and carry on with her business, with her practice, to build her practice. And she had all these buildings, so none of them was hurting for anything. Snook had a building where she could practice her medicine in. It just worked out in the end. That's one of them feel-good stories that, is as bad as it sounds. At the end of it, it works out. It works out. That's what I liked it about that. Y'all, let me get this meat up out of here. I liked it, that story, because the Moroccan Three, they had robbed banks, though. Y'all, they was actually a gang. Not a real gang. Y'all, this is fiction, okay? They had robbed over 50-some banks. And it's hard to do this and think at the same time. Come on, brain, get back there. They had robbed over 50-some banks, and they were smart. They outsmarted the FBI because they turned in parts of the money, which they thought they only took $200 million, and they turned in a lot of money, but they didn't know about the other money that they had robbed. They were robbing from the rich, giving to the poor. And they were eventually caught, and that's how they ended up owing that money, and that's what closed down the shop. See, as long as the old lady was in her good mind, she could pay the money. And she paid back her restitution fees, except for the $1.5 million. Because when you get in trouble with the law, they're going to make you pay back a certain amount of money as restitution fees to the court. Or to the federal, state, whatever one you're in. And that's how that was for her. When Giuliano found out about it, she didn't have the money for that. And they was already closing in. They had already told her they were taking the property. Ooh. I drug that story out. I feel like I did on here. I don't feel like I did that thing right. But the real story, it's not drug out like that. I don't know. I'm just not able to function today on more than one task at a time. It feels like. But I enjoyed writing the stories. I hadn't wrote a good one in a while, and this was my time to write. And it's been a rainy weekend already. I knew it was going to rain. It never fails. Every time it's time for the Peach Festival here in my town, it rains. Every time. Last year was worse than this year. Last year that rain was tearing them up out there. Sometimes that might be God's way of saying you need to straighten up. Y'all know some of these towns be having some deep secrets. I should write one on deep secrets. What do y'all want to hear me write about? Send me in a prompt what you want me to write about, and I'll get to it. Hopefully. How long have I been on here? 30-some minutes. Yeah, I cooked this meat, and I ain't lying. I want to eat it now as a taco, a little bit of it, because I haven't ate. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. But y'all go ahead and check out them stories on TikTok and YouTube. They're on both sides. I did put a little bit on Facebook, but the full stories on TikTok for all of those. And I got one story on there about a woman named Little Shirley. Little Shirley, I love writing that story. It was so fun. It was like the best little cute love story. I got to tell y'all this one. Little Shirley was this woman who started out singing gospel at her church, and with her mama and her daddy. But her daddy was always on the road because he was a guitar player. So he was always on the road. And so she spent a lot of time with her mama. Her mama was a singer. And then as she got older, she was like, I want more. There's more for me out there. And so what happens is she runs into this woman at church that's got a beard. She's dealing with that PCOS thing. She got a beard. But she tells her, look, I got a nightclub. Why don't you come on out there and sing for me? So she strayed away from the church to go sing. And she didn't understand what God was doing in her life at that moment. She just was praying, and she still had faith, though. She was praying that this would be part of God's will for her life. And she met a guy named Tad. Now, Tad, a wise guy, good-looking, dark-skinned, good-looking man. But Tad had a problem. Tad couldn't keep his legs, he couldn't keep his thing, to himself. He had a lot of women. And he liked her, too. He really liked her, but he had a lot of women. So when they did try to get together, what happened, rumors started spreading of how Chad was cheating on her, and she gave him a choice. Hey, you can stay with me or continue working with them women that you're sleeping with. He chose them women. It was about his career at that time. So he chose to continue working with the women who he was working with. She was devastating, but nonetheless, they still remained friends. He still remained her biggest supporter. And they didn't fall out about it, by her being a faith believer. She was like, just go on. You go your way, I go my way. But for the sake of this music thing, we're going to get along. Because I want my money and I want to sing. It happened. They got along. It was no problem. One night, one of her band members could not show up. And she had to have a replacement. And the replacement man came in. He was like this real happy guy, all smiles. Big fella. He was a big fella. And they just had the best time. They were so good together until they went on this tour. And the tour was named, it was about Little Shirley and Big Jazz. They named the tour after the both of them because they brought in lots of money and lots of energy. They had that big energy. You hear me? They had that big energy. It was never a bad moment around them. That's the type of people they were. Now, they weren't a couple. They were just friends, and they were just workers. What Shirley didn't know, Tad tried to tell her. Tad said, hey, you got a good man right there. And Shirley was like, what are you talking about? I'm single. What Shirley didn't know was that this whole time that they were together, Jazz liked her. Jazz was in love with some Shirley. He took time to meet her family, to make sure that she was always provided for and protected. He was the perfect man. And because, sometimes love comes in a way that's unexpected. Love can sneak in and you won't even realize it because it's so good to you. That's what happened to Shirley. She wasn't able to recognize the love that was right there with her because she was so focused on just doing the work and just staying on the road, planning these concerts and tours, that she didn't realize that the love was right. The love she was looking for in Tad was right underneath her nose in Jazz. And in the end, her and Jazz, they get married. They have kids. They live happily ever after. Now, I told it, but y'all go watch it. on TikTok. Okay, y'all. Peace, love, and happiness. I gotta eat. Y'all have a great day. And stay dry because it's raining out there.